So, my wife and I were watching this special the other day about a uh, a woman who had a roommate, another woman who had two of her younger kids living with him, and and the woman who owned the house, she had her own YouTube channel. She was like some type of counselor. And her picture on the YouTube channel made her look totally different. She actually looked normal, but she was just a mean person, and they would abuse these her friends' kids. Both of them would, and the mother of the kids was Mormon, and I don't know if she thought that they had a devil in them or what, but they put the girl in the closet. And the boy, he had rope burns on his ankles, and he got freed somehow, and he went to a neighbor's house and he asked him if he could call the police for him. When the medics got there, they found out that eventually that they treated his rope burns in his ankles with honey and cayenne pepper, and then they put cellophane on around there, and then they wrapped that around with tape. And when the medics got there, they were taking off the tape, and this is kind of gross, but they were peeling back, and they thought they were peeling back dressing, but it was a poor boy's skin. And you could tell he was skinny. They were, starving him, and even the girl in the closet, who looked like she was in better shape, but she was very skinny too. I told my wife something. I said, how could somebody do that to a child? I said, I bet you that she has a demon. Well, my wife didn't say anything, but I said, it has to be, because who else can do that? And then I found out, as the story got deeper, the husband of the mother ended up staying there at the house for a little while, and I found out that I was right about those demons, because that's not what the story was about. It was about this woman who had a YouTube channel, had a really nice house out in the desert, a big one, and just super nice. I was really surprised. But the mother, she had her YouTube channel showing what she does with her children, but the mother, just the abuse that they gave to those poor children who they did finally free. And I'm just going to show you a clip of when I say that, a lot of times when people commit horrific crimes, it's because it's more than likely they have a demon in them. I'm not saying every time, but chances are is those people are possessed. And like I said, this is what the story is about. This is what it's about. But I'm just going to show you what the dad said and what he experienced living with this woman and his wife.
It probably just means she needs a little bit more of a strict routine with her.
According to Kevin, the fight against so-called evil had not originated with the children. In fact, the downward spiral had begun more than a year prior under some very strange circumstances.
We went out to like a dinner afterwards, and that's where Jody really opened up to the women in a private conversation that she believed she was being tormented and haunted by shadow figures every night, and that was spooky.
Ruby also revealed that Russell and Eve still sometimes failed to control their bodily functions. She presented this as a method by which they defied her. Back with Kevin, he alleged that Jody's experiences had rapidly grown more intense.
She was walking along the beach with Jesus, and Jesus challenged her to go walk on the water, and it was a whole lesson on walking on the water.
And that was still just the tip of the iceberg. The more investigators read of Ruby's journal, the more depraved the story became. Tuesday, big day for evil, she wrote on July 11th. All night, Eve screamed and cried and hit her head on the tile floor. Today, Jody confronted her. Eve admits to putting on a show for her mother. Eve said she wants to be pitiful. When the investigators read on and learned what torment Eve had endured to reach this level of desperation, they likely didn't know whether to be enraged or heartbroken. Jody mentioned her experiences with what she called the spirit in one of her jail phone calls.
When I feel the spirit, I have two physiological reactions. I get really shaky, like I'm shivering, like I'm cold, or I feel heat, like I have a fever run through me. It felt like I was burning up, and I was just shaking with gratitude. Like, here's your answer. Here's what this is.
Back with Kevin, he revealed that while Jody's alleged visions had initially seemed positive, things quickly took a much darker turn, and things changed inside the house.
There was a lot of satanic ones. When she would go into possession mode, she would talk in different voices. It was really creepy. But the voices would say, she's ours, we're not letting go. She is Satan's bride. She's mine. I'm going to marry her. If she was faking it, she believed that Satan wanted her as her bride.
The journal revealed that Eve experienced horrific punishments. This is the day Eve anticipates breaking her 2-day fast, Ruby wrote. I let Russell know she has hardened her heart and will do one more day of fasting to invite her to humble. Eve flips out and begins ranting. All day, Eve makes rhymes about my mom starves me and calls it fasting. In his second interview, Kevin continued his description of what it was like to live with Jody.
I can't explain some of the stuff that happened while we were there. Like crashes in the basement while we were talking upstairs. And plates in the kitchen just flying off by themselves, full speed smashing on the wall and falling to the floor. And I don't have any way to explain it other than there's some crazy going on.
On other occasions, Eve was doused with water in the dog wash and made to sleep on the basement floor. And it only got worse going forward. Kevin, too, said that back in 2021, the situation with Jody took a similar downward trajectory as she became increasingly entwined with his family.
But it reached the point where in August, her bishop at the time, he's not her bishop anymore, but he was going over there every night, and he'd be there for 4 hours, and he'd be like, I'm fighting evil spirits, I'm casting demons out, there's crazy stuff going on. And finally he got to the point where he's like, I can't do this anymore. There needs to be some sort of resolution.
After the bishop left, the first attempted fix was for Jody to move in with another family involved with connections. The opinions Kevin shared about what happened with that family reflect only his beliefs, and we have not been able to verify them.
According to that, after 6 weeks in trying to seduce the husband of the family, they kicked her out.
While there was no way to prove that Jody had been held against her will, the police knew for a fact that Russell and Eve had been. Ruby documented one particularly horrific confrontation between Russell and Jody, whom she refers to frequently as G-Joe. G-Joe takes Russell on a little walk to the pool, Ruby wrote. She talks on how Russell has love twisted. G-Joe then pushed Russell into the pool. Meanwhile, Kevin recounted the events after Jody either escaped or was kicked out of the other family's home.
It was at that point that they said, why don't you take her up to your house? And I was like, oh, hell no. I don't want this in my house. But I was beaten over the head with it. That's really insensitive. She's done so much to help our family, and you're being selfish, and she has needs, and come on, it won't be for long. And so I relented, and I was like, okay.
Later in his second interview, Kevin told the police about the drastic changes that took place in the Frankie house after Jody moved in.
The moment she showed up in my house, just the weirdest crap started happening. Lights turning on and off, sounds of people walking in walls, and like sounds like footprints going up walls and across the ceiling, and stuff floating around. And I became the resident exorcist. That was the title I came up with myself. I thought it was kind of funny. Whenever she started to go into a trance and go into possession, which started to be a lot. And Ruby would go up and check on her. It started like every 4 hours at night, and then it moved every 2 hours at night, then it moved every hour at night, and then at some point Ruby said, you know what, I'm just going to start sleeping in there, and if I need you, I'll come down and get you.
Kevin said that Ruby and Jody began sleeping in the same bed. However, this was only the beginning, and soon Kevin noticed that he was being subjected to unique restrictions.
So I believe that Jody, the owner of the home, and some type of counselor on YouTube, and Ruby, the mother of the 2 children, were possessed. I think Jody was more heavy possessed, if that's the word I'm looking for, than Ruby. I think Ruby was definitely influenced by Jody. And I don't look at this stuff. That's not what this whole story was about. The whole story, and the reason why I was watching it, is because there was these 2 kids that were mistreated, and they were rescued. They were found and rescued. And the people who did the mistreatment to the children were thrown in prison. That's why I was watching it. But I was watching it. I said, this has to be some type of demonic possession. Somebody has a demon. And sure enough, the husband Kevin would eventually come around and say, yeah, he did stay with him for a while, and there was a lot of weird stuff going on. Whenever Jody was around, things started flying off shelves, and he would hear footsteps, and he said other stuff in the video. And it just goes to show you how we can discern certain bad things. It's like I always heard if there was something horrible that happens, like somebody killed, it's possible that it could open up doors to where spirits could come in, evil spirits. And this was bad stuff happening. And obviously they were coming through Jody, and she's the one who definitely was possessed the most. And that's the kind of world we live in. As a believer, when we see things happening like on TV shows or read about it in the news, a lot of times you can say it's possible there's a demonic influence in there. And as this video showed, there was. And so it was actually a long video. I only played a little bit of it, just the evil spiritual aspect of it, just to show you that this was the root cause. This, is the mistreatment of children. Because, Hasatan and his demonic angels hate us. They hate us, and they want to see us dead. They want to see our lives fall apart. But if we're covered by the blood of Yeshua, of Jesus, we believe in the God, the creator of the universe, the God of Israel, through the Messiah's blood, Jesus, Yeshua. We are covered by his blood. We are protected from that, and he cannot enter our home. If we follow through our faith, we're obedient to want to live a lifestyle, to learn about the lifestyle, to grow, continue to grow in knowledge of who Jesus is, of who God is. We are to serve God's kingdom. And when we do this, we know what God's will is for his believers. We learn what God's will is for his believers, and because of our faith, we do God's will. So I thought that was very interesting. I just wanted to share it with you. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. And until the next video, may God bless you, and may God keep you. And be sure to like and subscribe. And until the next video, may God bless you and keep you.